This is the podcast for small business owners and entrepreneurs who want to learn how simple ideas can lead to big wins for your business. I'm your host, Ryan DeLello, professional dancer from TV's So You Think You Can Dance, turned entrepreneur and business owner. I'm on a quest to discover the most creative ideas that have made all the difference for successful businesses. This is the Idea Wins podcast. All right, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Today, we have Brian Wallace on the podcast. We're very excited to have him. Brian Wallace is the founder and president of NowSourcing, an industry-leading content marketing agency that makes the world's ideas simple, visual, and influential. Brian has been named a Google Small Business Advisor since 2016 and joined the South by Southwest Advisory Board in 2019. Brian, good to have you on.
Pleasure, man. Such a pleasure to be here, Ryan.
It's great to meet you. We have a little connection with my cousin.
Yeah.
Adam's a good dude. I'm glad he introduced us.
For sure.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Brian. Brag about yourself and how you're changing the world with NowSourcing.
So, my man, I appreciate that. I don't really like the brag thing. Like, just so we're clear, like, I'm just a regular dude. I appreciate that. Jeff Bezos said that your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. So the fact that other people or the internet and due diligence brag about us, that's really what fame and expertise is. That being said, I do believe that it's important to have like a healthy business ego. Okay.
Confidence.
So, exactly. So ranting aside, you already kind of introduced and you said that we do content marketing. And the thing about the simple, visual, and influential, we were one of the first firms on the planet, maybe like the third or fourth place that in existence, to pioneer infographics and visual storytelling as a method for getting all sorts of press and traffic and SEO and virality. So we're talking like maybe May of 2008. Most people never heard of an infographic until at least 2012 or 2013 when they all tried to do what I do for a living. So what I mean by being good at that and like really like world renowned, we've helped companies be a catalyst for their growth when it comes to getting funded, getting acquired, acquiring other companies. We had something over a decade ago go so crazy that like Google and Adobe called us up and hired us on the spot. There was a basketball player that we got a $64 million contract. Then he got a $180 million follow-up. He's like one of the top 10 paid guys in the game. If you ever saw The Hustle on Netflix, it's Tobias, who's like the main rival for the character in the game.
That's awesome. Yeah. You know what? A lot of people are thinking infographics. Oh, okay. So you just do like visuals. Dive into what you actually do, because that is just
for those of you who didn't see,
underselling.
Listening to this, I'm eye rolling so hard because I get that a lot. It's like, oh, you just make graphics. What are you doing?
Right.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about it. So help business owners who are watching this and listening to this understand what you really do.
Exactly. Everything that you think you know about infographics is barely just a little smidgen of what we actually do. So visualize, if you will. If you're watching on video, you can watch how excited I am. If you're just listening by audio, just close your eyes and envision this metaphor. You ever see those pictures where it's like the top of the iceberg is above the water, but then when you go beneath the surface, there's a ton more? That's what you know about the world of infographics. Almost nothing. The actual depth of how the human mind understands visual storytelling is very, very important. So here's the deal. It's almost like a smoke screen, because here's the reality. People, and I'm not insulting people or their abilities, but people do not read on the internet. They actually do a different thing in their brain called chunking. There's a guy by the name of Jacob Nielsen who said this 20, 30 years ago. He's basically like renowned as the father of usability. So chunking means your brain and your eyes, you're scanning around looking for what you should pay attention to on a page. That's why you have words and words and words and words. Everybody has a header image. Everybody has different fonts. They have bulleted lists. They have different formatting. They have category headers. They have a table of contents, because even the words and the font and the size, all of that matters. So infographic is just giving people more eye candy to get their attention for permission for more attention. I'm saying? So everybody's 100%. Like, oh, this is a short read, but it's not. If you put a clock timer to that sucker, easily 2, 3, 5 or so minutes. So you can cram in a ton of information when you're hitting people with emotion rather than stats story and visuals, and then stats to back it up, all in a neat little package, it's incredible what you can do.
Yeah.
Because what we're actually doing, we're really just packaging up simplicity rather than talking over everybody's head and beating our chest of how fancy we are with words people don't understand. We're meeting them where they are on an emotional and visual perspective so they can remember more stuff for better cognition later.
Absolutely. There's something from your website that I read that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
You are marrying the data and the facts with the art of storytelling and emotion. This
There you
is
go.
this is essential. And I think about that, and I am an entrepreneur, but the listeners know that I was a professional dancer. I was on TV shows and So You Think You Dance, Dancing with the Stars. I also coach competitors. And in fact, I was just talking to a couple the other day, and they were really bummed about how they did on the dance floor. They didn't dance very well. And I said, well, what is the first thing that the judges are judging? And they're like, well, our dancing. And I said, no, they're not. They're judging the way you look,
right?
The lady's hair, the dress, the boy's shirt. They're judging your presence, your energy. So that reminds me of infographics. Right from the beginning, you are setting the stage for how your audience is going to connect to you. And there's a lot of research that goes into that, right? It's not just like, okay, we're just going to put whatever. It's like you've got to really research your target audience and understand what speaks to them and how in just a split second you can communicate with them. Right?
I hear you, man. You're good at this, man. I love this. You're already better than like most people that I go on interviews like every week or so. So good on you. And I think, and for everybody listening, like I think that's because Ryan is so media trained. He's just like seemingly a natural, but he didn't just like come out of the womb like this. Like you've just
I did study PR, so I did get
right. So like you've got
me,
so much like high level knowledge that it's ridiculous. So I appreciate that nuanced response in there. And good thing I put on like a decent enough shirt and brought the energy. So you know what it is,
You're crushing it. You're crushing it. Don't worry about that.
Thanks. I mean, I just live in this zone. It's not just like a stage presence. This is just my stream of consciousness. So you know what drives me crazy about what people think? People sometimes when they're looking at PR and marketing and SEO, they forget how people think. People don't think in listicles. People are emotional. People are irrational. It's crazy. You ever hear these crazy stats that people have the attention of a goldfish? I don't know if that's more insulting to people or goldfish.
Right.
People don't have an 8-second attention span, right? Somebody 100%. Can binge watch whatever's new on Amazon Prime or Netflix or all the shows you've already been on in a weekend. That's not 8 seconds. It's just that people have a more finely tuned crap filter because there's more and more garbage every day. And AI ain't going to be doing us any favors either because everybody's going to make 1,000 copies of the same thing.
Yep.
By the way, I'm getting a little bit of a reverb or something. Not sure what that is.
It sounds good on my end, so hopefully we're okay.
So I'll be quiet on that. Let's keep going.
No worries.
Yep.
So let me ask you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Idea Wins is the whole thing that we're about here is simple things that companies can do that will make a big impact. And I really see that that's exactly what you're doing. You are in a niche where, hey, you can use infographics and what we do to make a tremendous impact, right, for your business. So what else would you say, or maybe dive a little more deeper into that? Like what do companies need to think about in order to do that, in order to use infographics to accomplish what you do? Like what is maybe a first step, or what action can they take?
Sure. So 2 parts of the answer there. The first thing is the idea has to be better than whatever they're thinking about. So imagine all you ever had is a subject line in an email, and you're not allowed to write any text in the body, no emojis, no high priority. Doesn't matter what your email address is. That's the only thing that you have, like just a line on a headstone or whatever. No, not to get dark. That's a terrible metaphor. Anyway, look, if all you have is just that headline, if it's not good enough, you're toast. So it's the headline, but is the seed of idea truly interesting to the internet, or is it just interesting to your corporate stakeholders and your C-suite and your roundtable? Chances are you have not battle tested that with the internet, because I assure you all that there are gigantic websites out there that multivariate test tens of different titles on the fly, and they see what works. So if you don't have an ability to know how to do that, you've already lost the game. The other side that I'm going to answer on that is the strata of how our teams are composed internally, because a lot of people just think, oh, it's an infographic. I'll just dump it into some free do-it-yourself template thing and call it a day. And I say, if you've got something like a publicly traded company, like, are you going to put in like a kindergartner's PowerPoint presentation?
Right.
Maybe they're not doing PowerPoint in kindergarten, but elementary school, whatever.
Right.
So here's the thing. So I already explained the title and the seed of the idea. So the reason that what we do is successful, even if you try to mimic it and mirror it, and you probably will fail. I'm not saying like we're the only place in the world that can do this, but the reason that we know our game and we're good at it is that we always continue to get better, and we've been doing this since 2008. So rather than reinventing ourselves, and this year we're the crypto expert, and then we're going to be the AI expert and whatever, just imagine that you take your 10,000 hours of expertise and then you keep going and you just reach the world elite mastery on something. When you just stick in your swim lane and you only get better, guess what? You get better. Finish the sentence. So back to the strata of the team. Once we have the concept, we've got a research team. So the research team does research. It also, almost like writing a TV show or a movie script, is making it where we are putting together the blueprint, which is, again, emotion, story, and stats in that order, together to be the undercurrent of what we're going to build the pixels or build the visuals on. And in design, we're uncompromising. People apply all over the world, and we say no all the time, because guess what? Design. And by the way, everybody, designers won't tell you this. You ready? Designers hate making infographics. Why? Because you have to be good at like 12 different things instead of the one or two that they usually coast on.
Yeah. It's not just making pictures.
No, it's not just making pictures. Ready? Let's list a few things you have to be good at. Are designers data scientists? No. That's why they need a research team. Are designers good at typography? Probably not. Are they good at photo manipulation? Are they good at putting together and understanding charts and how they're representing and map visualizations and 3D isometric design and character design? Not a chance. So we have really, really good OG people at design specifically for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
Fine. And not to cut you off, the important part for a lot of companies is the fact that we have a media promotion, earned media arm. So it's not just like, you know how the internet works. By the way, for anybody who doesn't know how the internet works, it isn't some scam artist that's going to say, I'm going to get you an XYZ publication. And really that means they're just going to spend $100 on a press release that's going to go on Yahoo or whatever, and then get flushed down the toilet in a month because it's not a real link. It's not real press. Stop believing lies. So we have actual relationships with places because editors like us because we build their sites. So we get keys to things that lots of people that don't have the relationships don't have. Think of it like this. So
it's always been that way. It's who you know.
Exactly.
It's always been that way.
It's not just interesting though, Ryan. So I like using the metaphor of a safety deposit box. So if you ever go into a bank vault, for a good reason, you're opening a safety deposit box, not robbing your head out of like, like bank robberies and stuff, right? So imagine you're just in there and you're, checking out like your family's valuables or whatever. So how many keys do you need to open the box? 2. So what are the 2 keys of the internet? Ryan already said one, and it's who you know. The other thing is having something world-class to give them, because I could be best buddies with a journalist and it doesn't matter. If I don't have something that's actually rising to the level of interestingness, we're all not being intellectually honest with each other. Who cares if I know somebody if I'm giving them garbage?
Yep.
That's what a lot of people do.
Yeah. And they're not going to want to use it. They're not going to want to use your stuff again.
Totally.
Like you're going to burn a bridge because they're like,
great way to burn that. Yeah, exactly. They'll never talk to you again. You know how many emails journalists get every hour? It's absurd.
Yeah. Well, I love what you're doing. I think, you are changing the world and you have a very specific way that you're doing that. That's what I love about business. Like if you really get down to what business is, it's okay. I have an idea for a service or a product and I want to change the world with this. I want to actually make an impact. Businesses who succeed are businesses who have that mentality. Let me ask you another question.
Yes, sir.
What do you see as the greatest challenge right now for businesses?
All All right. Well, not to be like a pessimist or anything, but I believe that there is some major world financial downfall happening. Like, didn't the US government like literally change the definition of a recession to pretend we're not in one?
Pretty much.
Even if you're not an economist and you only like reading
That's
like,
what politics is about, right?
yeah, right.
Let's
Like,
change
let's
the
just
message
pretend
so it aligns with.
that like we don't really understand politics or economics or whatever. So I'll give you all like the TLDR, too long didn't read version. There isn't a lot of financial growth. There's horrible inflation in the United States and beyond. There's a lot of problems with war and conflict, supply chain issues, COVID, you name it. Like there's just like
Yeah.
a wheel of
It's not
horrible
getting
things.
better right now.
It is not getting better. So what does that mean? That means, oh, and by the way, like big tech and huge companies laying off, laying off, laying off. Like nobody's immune. Like Zoom just laid off 1,200 people. Microsoft laid off 12,000, and it's happening and it's growing. It's happening every day. And that should scare you as a business owner, whether you're a Fortune 500, Global 2000, or some guy in his basement, whatever. And you're probably in the middle. But let's say most people are, just small business or whatever. The sad reality, or the good reality, I guess, is that people must do more with less. So when you have $100 million budget, you can do every stupid thing in the world, and it doesn't matter because you've got $100 million.
Yep.
When that gets cut to 3, you better pick the right thing instead of awarding it to your buddy on the golf course, because who cares about that guy? Go play golf. Like hire people who are experts. Nothing makes me more annoyed than all these people that say that they're full service, this and that, full service marketing. We do everything. I was like, how can that be true? How could you be great at everything? I just told you I've been doing like a thing for how many years? Like a decade and a half, right? I may be pretty good at a lot of other stuff, but give me a break.
The riches are in the niches.
Exactly.
Find your niche and deliver value.
Exactly.
And deliver it better and better and better every year.
Exactly.
So that's your solution. Do you have anything else to add to that? So that's the first.
Yeah. So I'm saying, right. So because everybody's got to do more with less, as long as you do something that is world-class and people know that you do it, then you should do well or better than average in a chaos market, which is what we're approaching or in already, depending on how you read the financials.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I love it. Perfect answer. Beautiful.
Thanks.
Okay. One more question for you, just on a lighter note, because this has just been awesome. You've totally crushed it today. If you had one superpower, business superpower, what would it be?
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I don't really think I'm a superhero. I'm kind of just a normal guy, but maybe once in a while I have to like break through.
But that's, Clark Kent, man.
Yeah, let's go. I got the glasses on. So like when I'm in like a total beast and I throw my glasses off and I fly around in the world, rather than being Superman, because like that's kind of like a weird power and he's got the kryptonite. I really think that the world needs a little bit more empathy, because I don't know about you, man. When was the last time you said to somebody, "Hey, how's it going?" and then they responded fine, and then you just go on with life as normal? Everyone is like totally like abnormal, on tilt, hurting. Do you remember like, what the word of the year for, I think it was Merriam-Webster dictionary was?
For what, 2022?
Yeah.
All
right. So to ruin your day, it was called goblin mode. Do you know what goblin mode is? It's not a nice thing.
It sounds like a video game.
Yeah, no, it's not a video game. It's not Lord of the Rings or whatever. Like we could geek out about that, but that's not what it means. So goblin mode, and you're going to look this up like right after.
I'm totally going to look it up.
So it just means like, imagine somebody just all disgusting and grungy and like not putting on a good shirt and their hair is like disgusting and they're just in sweatpants all day, like peeing themselves or whatever, like ruins the metaphor for you. So that's goblin mode, is like you've just kind of given up on humanity.
How depressing.
So I think that the world must be met with a level of empathy, and I think everybody has that superpower to try a little harder to reach them. So that's what I'd say.
I love that. I would 100% agree with you. I think we are so divided. Man, we are so divided. I don't my entire life. I just turned 42 on Monday.
Nice.
And I've never seen the world so divided in 42 years, So I think that's a perfect answer. Very nicely done. So how do people find you? Where can we send people so that you can help them change the world, right? Because you're changing the world by helping them change the world. So where can people go?
Yeah, so there's too many people in the world named Brian Wallace, so you might get like random different Brian Wallaces. I'm pretty sure like when you Google my name, we actually show up pretty high these days. By we, I mean me. But because I said we, I'm actually talking about our business,
Mhm.
which is NowSourcing. So usually if you look us up on all the socials under NowSourcing, like the word outsourcing, but NOW, and
Mhm.
then just nowsourcing.com. Hit us
Perfect.
up.
All right. Well, we're going to put those links in the show notes. And man, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on today.
Likewise, my man. This was
Really,
fun.
really great. Yeah, meeting you and just learning more about what you do. And I just love what you're doing. So
Likewise.
we'll send people your way.
Sounds good, my man.
All
Appreciate
right.
you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. If you're looking for tools or resources to grow, optimize, and save money for your business, or if you have questions about today's podcast or a previous episode, go to ideawins.com. We believe every idea counts, and a small, simple idea might be the only thing holding you back from a big win for your business. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast in your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. And as always, thanks for sharing Idea Wins with your friends. I'll see you next time.